So thank you guys so much for hopping on this kind of big mastermind call. I don't know what you want to call it, but I had posted in the team or the West Region Diamonds and One Star Diamonds page that I had a topic I really wanted to share with you guys, and that I would love to host a team call for somebody. And I had so many people asking me to host their team calls. And I was like, you know what, maybe we can bring everybody together on one night, because I don't want to make people wait, 2 months to hear this topic. So my topic for tonight is mastering influence. Now, let me just say really quick, you guys, that I am not Ashley Beeman. Ashley Beeman is my upline coach. I'm using her Zoom tonight. My name is Samantha Huger, and it's Huger, not Hogger. Everybody always mispronounces it. So I'm Samantha Huger, and let me just tell you a little bit about me and my coaching journey, and then I'll talk to you guys about the topic of mastering influence, which is the topic for tonight's call. Hang on just a second. Let me make sure I mute everybody. Okay. All right, so a little bit about me. I'm from like a super small town in Idaho, and I grew up knowing absolutely nothing about health and fitness and nothing about personal growth, personal development. And it's funny because I can remember my mom saying, even when I was little, I remember it specifically, she was saying that she didn't like Oprah magazine because of all the self-help crap that Oprah always puts in the magazine. And it's so funny that I remember that, because today I'm so different than my mom, and I'm so into personal development and self-help. It's like my life. But what happened growing up was I truly thought that I was like destined to see the scale continue to rise. I blame genetics a lot. I don't come from a very healthy family, or a family that knows much about health and fitness or has ever really concentrated on it. So I just thought that each year I was going to see the scale continue to rise. And I did. After college, I definitely saw that trend happening in my life where, I was just seeing the scale go up once, every couple months or whatever. And it was really hard to see. I tried everything. I tried starving myself. I tried fad diets. I even tried to be bulimic for a while. Like, I tried everything because I was so dissatisfied with how my body looked. At one point, I really did love working out, but I wasn't consistent with it, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I really didn't see results, but I really enjoyed working out. So in 2011, I had tried Brazil butt lift. And at the time, I saw Shakeology on the commercials, and I saw about the coaching opportunity. And I had kind of looked into it, but I really didn't give it much thought, because I had 2 other failed attempts in a multi-level marketing business that didn't have to do with health and fitness, but it had to do with like a health product, I guess you could say. It was not fitness. It was a health product. And I had 2 failed attempts in a multi-level marketing business. So like, multi-level marketing left a really bad taste in my mouth. And I was just like, no, not going to put more money into something. I would love to try this Shakeology thing, but there's no way I'm going to put myself out there again and fail. So like, when I was in college, I did the quote practical thing, and I got a 4-year bachelor's degree in biology. And I changed my mind all the time, like every 3 months, what I wanted to be when I grew up. Like, what was I going to do? At first, I wanted to be a dental hygienist, then I wanted to be a plastic surgeon, and then a cardiopulmonary perfusionist. And, so after college, I realized, like, I don't want to be any of those things. I'm just going to do my thing for a while, and maybe I'll go back to school someday, but I kind of doubt it, because I really don't want to get into any more debt. So I was an assistant manager at Zoomies for a long time. That was kind of my first experience with influence and sales. I don't like using the word sales. I prefer the word influence now. But that was my first experience with that. I was a server at many different restaurants. I even cleaned hotel rooms for a while. Like, seriously, when I go to a hotel room now and I hear the knock knock housekeeping, and like your friends make fun of you, like there's this part inside of me that cringes, because I'm like, I was that person at one point in my life. And then my first experience as an entrepreneur, I did own a very successful Etsy shop at one time, making feather earrings, and they were super fun. But I realized, like, I wasn't going to make any kind of income, any kind of significant income, because I couldn't work fast enough. Like, my little fingers couldn't make those earrings fast enough for me to make the kind of income I wanted. But in 2012, I decided I'm going to go ahead and try and be a flight attendant because it's something I've always wanted to do. So I went to flight attendant training and I met my boyfriend, my now boyfriend, Zach. He's the father of my son. I met him there at flight attendant training, and he totally changed my thinking on health and fitness. And I fell in love with lifting around this time. And so I became like the fit friend that people wanted to go to for advice on, you know, and they messaged me on Facebook and all this stuff. And I wanted to do something with fitness. Like I was searching for a route that I could use to share my passion for it and all that I had learned. So I had created a like page. I thought about doing a blog. I actually started a blog. I did a couple of vlogging videos or whatever, but I knew I didn't want to be a personal trainer. I just didn't know where to take it. And it was around this time that I learned what personal development was. And Zach and I dove like head first into Tony Robbins. Like he is my man. I love Tony Robbins. So I became obsessed with personal development. This is all before I was a coach, you guys. I became obsessed with personal development and this idea of passive income. And I got that kind of implanted in my head from Tony Robbins and from the book called The 4-Hour Workweek. Maybe you've heard of it. So I became obsessed with this idea of creating a life I loved where I could have a passive income and be able to work from anywhere in the world. Like I wanted to do that so bad. I do not like being an employee. I'm not a very good worker. You know, like I work hard for myself, but I don't work very hard for other people. So in 2013, I went to Unleash the Power Within and we walked across the flaming hot coals and all that with Tony Robbins. And it was amazing. If you ever get the chance to go because it is incredible. It's funny because around this time when I was doing all this stuff, I had my Facebook like page and I was trying to figure out how I wanted to share my passion for fitness. And I was doing all this personal development before I was even a coach. My now upline coach came into my life and I turned her down for 2 years about the opportunity because I just so did not want to fail again in any kind of multi-level marketing business. Like I was not even going to go there. I didn't want to be salesy. I didn't want to invest in it. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then finally in 2014, I had this brand new baby boy. He was 2 months old and I was 25 pounds away from my pre-baby weight. I knew I was going to get there, but you know, when you're in the moment, you're 25 pounds away and you're only 5 feet tall and you're like, oh my gosh, this seems like it's such a long ways away. I was like, okay, I'm sitting there in the rocking chair, rocking my 2-month-old baby, and I'm looking on Facebook, and these pictures of my now upline coach, Ashley Beeman, start popping up on my Facebook, and she's at her first coach summit in 2014. And I was like, I sent her a message. I was like, I'm ready to do this. Let's give it a try. I decided to go all in right off the bat as a coach. I hit Success Club 17 in my first month as a coach. This is in July of 2014. So I'm about a year and a half in. I hit Success Club 17 in that first month. I hit Emerald in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, I am totally going to hit Diamond in my first 90 days. And it did not happen. After that point, I kind of sailed from there. Like I was still working really hard. And I didn't sign my first working coach until February of 2015. And that's the end of February of 2015. Like I worked from July to February and finally had my first working coach at that point. So was I frustrated with my business in between July and February? Absolutely. Yes, I was. But was I still running groups every single month? Yeah, I was. Was I still making sure I hit Success Club every single month? Yes. And in February that year, I decided to shift how I presented myself on my social media. And I decided I wasn't going to be afraid anymore to tell my challengers, like, you would make a great coach. Have you ever considered doing it? Like we heard from Janelle Summers this week. I decided I was not going to be afraid anymore to share about what the coaching opportunity meant to me on my social media and how my coaching journey had helped me. And so I dove deeper into sharing stories about coaching and sharing stories about my past that had real emotion tied into them. And so this last year, I added 65 coaches to my team. And then today I am a 1-star diamond, but Thursday, I'm going to be 3-star qualifying. I can't even believe it. It's so, so crazy, you guys. So right now I'm 18 months in Success Club and I'm a Success Club 10 All-Star. So that's just a little bit about me and kind of where I came from. Sorry, if you're on and you're not muted, go ahead and mute yourself, please. Thank you. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I can turn my volume down. All right. So and here we are tonight. I'm gonna share my secrets with you guys about mastering influence. So let's get started. What do you guys think of when you hear the word salesperson? What do you guys think of when you hear the word salesperson? You guys probably think the same things I do, that they're a great person and that you love spending time around them and they are a person of really great integrity, right? No, we don't think of that. We think of slimy, greasy, manipulative, somebody we want to avoid, right? I mean, I turned down the business for 2 years because I did not want to be a salesperson. But what if I could tell you that you could be totally successful in your business without having to feel like you're being pushy or salesy? Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't it be amazing to have more people coming to you, asking you to be in your challenge groups, asking you for advice, asking you that, like, how does this coaching thing work? How can I join your team? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is mastering your influence. And because that's what the secret is. The secret to all of that and having more people coming to you and having more of your following trust you and having more of your following really interested in what you have to say is mastering influence. So tonight I'm going to share with you how to master the power of influence. And I'm going to share how to influence yourself, how to influence others in your conversations, like whether that's in person or probably mostly on Messenger. So how to influence others in your conversations, and then how to influence others within your social media and within your team. So really quick, I want you guys to think of some of the big influencers in our network. Who do you guys think of when I say somebody who is of great influence within the network? We might think of the same people, because for me, I know I think of like Amy Silverman, Megan Ewaldson, Raina Odell, Bonnie Engel, and Colleen Curtis. Like, those are the people I think of when I think of people who are really influential. And we all have our people that we love. Those are just mine. But now ask yourself, well, why is it that these people are so influential? That's kind of like the big question, isn't it? Like, why are they so influential? What is the difference between them and me? And because it's not because they take the best photos or because they have the best bodies or because they follow a program to a T or anything like that, or because they have the most likes on their Facebook like page, they have the most Instagram followers. That's not what it comes down to. What is the difference between them and where you might be today is because they are so good at connecting us to our own human emotion. Like, think about it. Have you ever felt completely and totally empowered watching one of their videos? Like, you could go out and conquer the world. Like, you are going to take this Beachbody thing and you are going to take it to the top because you watched one of their videos. Or have you ever been completely moved almost to tears by just like reading one of their posts and reading what they had to say? Or like, have you ever looked at a post and looked at what they were sharing and thought, damn, I want my life to look like that? That's because of emotion. It's because they've practiced and mastered this thing called influence, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So you might be thinking like, well, what is influence? I don't really understand what you mean, Sam. Influence is the craft of weaving human emotion into your posts, into your photos, and into your videos. And I'll say it again. Influence is the craft of weaving human emotion into your posts, your photos, and your videos. You guys, emotion is king, and I think that's a big reason why video is so important and helps your following to understand who you are so much better, because your emotions show through in your videos so much more than they can in a post or in like a photo. Not saying you have to go out and make video, because there are plenty of successful coaches who don't. But think about that. Emotion is so king in everything that we do. And I want you to think about this. The quality of your experiences depends on the quality of your emotions. And I'll say that again. The quality of your experiences depends on the quality of your emotions. So everything that you see or hear is connected to and will be perceived in your brain as either good or bad based on the emotions that you feel at the time. So, like, what emotions are your followers getting when they have a conversation with you? What emotions are they feeling when they watch one of your videos or read one of your posts? That's something to really ask yourself. because like I said, with those other coaches who are of such great influence, we love following their journey and we love watching their videos because of the emotions that we feel while we are looking at their photos or while we're watching one of their videos. So what are your followers feeling when they're having a conversation with you? What are they feeling when they're watching one of your videos or reading your posts and following your journey? Maybe you guys have heard this saying before, that facts tell and stories sell. So, and what that really means to me is that us as humans, we are not logistical buyers. We are emotional buyers. I'll say it again. We're not logistical buyers. We're emotional buyers. So like if you were to get like a balance, you know, like one of those old fashioned balance weight things, I don't even know what they're called, honestly. And you were to put some rocks on it. And one of the rocks is the logistical reasons to buy. And one of the rocks is the emotional reasons to buy. The rock that was connected to emotional reasons to buy is going to be a lot bigger and have a lot more weight than the rock with logistical reasons to buy. Does that make sense to you guys? So like maybe you guys have had an experience like this before, and I'll just give you an example. Because I know I had plenty of these experiences, especially in college and even still today, where like I knew I had no money and I went into TJ Maxx one day, and this is a true story. I went into TJ Maxx and I saw this $250 espresso maker that was originally $800. You know how everybody likes a good sale, but it's a $250 espresso maker, and I just had to buy it. You guys, I was in absolutely no place to be buying a $250 espresso maker, but like my emotions got the best of me, and you bet I bought that espresso maker. So emotional reasons to buy hold so much more weight than those logistical reasons to buy. So you have to really learn how to connect to people on an emotional level. I hope this is kind of like some of the pieces are starting to come together and you guys are starting to make sense of what the depth of this call is going to be about. So to be an effective influencer, you have to get people to want what you're offering in a way where they came to that conclusion that they want to join your team or that they want to join your challenge group on their own. Like they decided it based off of the emotions that they felt, not from you telling them about the facts. You're not convincing them to join your team or to buy a challenger pack with facts. They've already decided they want to join you just from talking to you or seeing what you have on social media. Now, I'm not saying like you're going to go through your conversations and you're never going to have to tell anybody any facts about what comes with a challenge pack or what the compensation plan is for coaching, but it's going to open up a whole new world for you when it comes to getting people to say yes. Maybe you're struggling with getting people to say yes to coaching. Maybe you're struggling getting people to say yes to a challenge pack. So I really hope that this call is going to help you to get more yeses. So if you want to become a master of influence, there's a few things that you're going to need to tap into and start implementing. And so number one is getting your mindset right. And you guys are probably like, oh my God, Sam, I have heard this so many times. I know I need to get my mindset right. But let me just share like my thoughts on getting your mindset right. Tony Robbins, he's my boy. And if you haven't ever listened to him, oh my gosh, he is like the godfather of personal development. So definitely check him out. I love him. Check him out on YouTube. He's incredible. Tony Robbins says that it's 80% of success is mindset and 20% is mechanics. 80% of success is mindset and 20% is mechanics, according to Tony Robbins, and I believe him. So what you really need to do in order to help you to get in the right mindset is you have to get I think this is the most important part of getting in the right mindset, is you have to get really, really clear on your vision. Get really clear on your vision. And you know what? We hear this over and over again in our personal development, but are you really doing it? Like, are you really getting clear on what it is that you want? Where do you want to be from a year from now? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? What do you want your life to look like from coaching? Like, how clear is your vision? Because we talk about like your why a lot, especially when you get started as a coach and if you're going through your coach basics training, but do you really have a mental picture in your head of like what your everyday life is going to look like? And are you going through that mental picture in your head every single day? And is it helping you to push through those hard times and helping you to push through those days where you might not want to invite anybody or you might not want to post on your social media? So how can you get more clear about this vision? And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an assignment.
Let me just go rock Tucker for a minute because he's
okay. Sorry. So how can you get more clear on your vision? So this is going to be a little assignment for you guys, is to write a vision letter to yourself 1 year from now. Write a vision letter to yourself 1 year from now. And I want you to, when you write this, I want you to write it in the present tense. So you're going to date this thing February 23rd of 2017. And you're going to write this thing in the present tense, like you're congratulating yourself on everything that you've accomplished in this last year in 2016. And when you do this, I want you to do like a total brain dump. And I want you to take your time on it. Get down into the real nitty-gritty fun details of what you accomplished, what your life is like in February of 2017, and like even just like bringing it down to details of how your day-to-day runs and the things that you have done with your business, the things that you've been able to do for your coaches, for your family, for yourself. Really get down and get down into the deep details. And like I said, do a total brain dump and make sure it's really, really compelling. When I sat down and I did this last year in March, I got to do another one. It's coming up on my time to do another one. But I sat down to do it and I was like, this is probably only going to take me about 15 minutes. It ended up taking me 2 hours. And I'm not saying like you should be taking 2 hours to write out your vision letter, but I thought it was only going to take me 15 minutes because I wasn't super excited to write it. I was like, this seems like a chore. But once I got started, I had so much fun with it, you guys. It's like playing pretend with your future. And so what I want you to do is I want you to write out this letter, and then I want you to reread your letter often. You could even do where you like make a recording of yourself reading it, and you could listen to that recording once a week, every day if you want to for a while, like days when you're feeling down about your business, you're not feeling motivated. Reread that letter, listen to that recording if you make one, and it's going to help you to get in the right mindset. It's going to help you to push through those hard times. One of my favorite quotes is, "A man without a vision will perish." I'll say that again. A man without a vision will perish. And you guys are going to see this. Once you start building a team, and maybe you've already seen this in your teams, once you start building a team, people start out like totally on fire for their business, and they are ready to go, and they start doing stuff, and they start failing, and they quit. And they quit because they lose sight of that vision, or they never develop that vision in the first place. Somebody who has vision is not going to let those failures stop them. Somebody who has a very clear vision is going to push through and going to continue on. So you have to make sure that you are continuing with your vision. So this goes whether maybe you've been a coach for a long time, or maybe you're a brand new coach and you haven't gotten deep into creating your vision yet. That's okay. Like, we all have to start somewhere. And maybe if you've been a coach for a while, and you've kind of started to lose that vision, don't get down on yourself, because that's probably from something called the law of familiarity. And the law of familiarity says this: if you're around anything long enough, people tend to take it just a little bit for granted. So if you've been a coach for a while and you're kind of starting to lose that vision, the law of familiarity is coming in, and things happen. You forget to share about the feelings you had before you became a coach. You forget what it was like. You forget how to share what it was like going through your first program, or going through Coach Basics, or what it was like before you turned your life around with health and fitness. You kind of just have that law of familiarity, and you can't even really remember what life was like before that. So if you're in that position where you are either feeling the law of familiarity being a coach for a while, or if you're a newer coach and you haven't even gotten to this point where you have that really clear vision, what you need right now is you need a breakthrough. It's just a breakthrough, a moment in time, and it's just a moment where you decide to raise your standards and you start telling yourself, I'm going to succeed in my business, and I'm going to take my business to the next level. So if you want something different in your business, you have to start doing something different. So I have to ask you guys, are you doing your personal development? Are you doing your personal development, like a real gut check? Because how can you expect to reach people on an emotional level if you aren't getting in touch with your own emotions? And that's what personal development does for us, right? So I'm going to say that again. How can you expect to reach other people on an emotional level if you aren't getting in touch with your own emotions yourself? So my action for you guys is to do this vision letter. And then I want you to create from that vision some easy, small little scenarios to picture inside your head. And I want you to take these scenarios and I want you to, I call it bookending your day with them. And I got that bookending, like that term from my success partner. So bookend your day with these little scenarios where you visualize your future and just start out doing just like 5 minutes a day. You can do them first thing in the morning, right after you work out, and then do them right before you go to bed at night. Even just like 2 or 3 minutes. And then if you want to do it longer, that's great. And it's a great way too, like if you like to do gratitude or if you like to do the affirmations, that is a great time that after you do your little visualization of what your future is going to look like, you write out your affirmations and you write out your gratitude. So start bookending your day, even if it's just for a minute. Like start visualizing what your life is going to be like when you hit these goals that you want to be at a year from now. Get really, really clear on what it is that you want. Start and finish your day with your vision, and I can almost assure you that you will start having the right mindset. It's going to help you to start believing in yourself more, especially if you're struggling with that right now, struggling with believing in yourself. This is going to help, I promise you. And a little quote that I love from the movie The Secret is, if you can see it in here, you're going to start seeing it out here. So that was getting clear on your vision. Number 2 is having an attitude of service. Have an attitude of service. What this means is you have to care more about people than you care about your product. You have to care more about people than you care about your product. Like you've probably heard your coach say to you before, take the Success Club points out of your eyes, take the dollar signs out of your eyes when you're having conversations with people. So remember when we talked about that icky salesperson? That icky salesperson does the opposite. They care more about their product than they do about their people. And I won't say any names of any particular multi-level marketing companies, but I'm sure you guys can think of some very choice ones where it's obvious that they put their product in before they put the importance of people. They have those dollar signs in their eyes, and if they had Success Club points, they have Success Club points in their eyes before they care about their customers. So how can you do this? How can you show more of an attitude of service? And what we're going to go into first is talking about how you can show this in your conversations. So how do you show this in your conversations? How do you have an attitude of service? How do you put how much you care about that person over whether or not they buy a challenge pack or whether or not they join your team? You do that by asking more questions. Ask your people lots of questions. Listen more than you speak. Be more interested than interesting. And this might be like something you've heard before, but really truly making sure that you are really doing it in your conversations. Because if you're struggling to have somebody join your team, or you're struggling to have somebody buy a challenge pack, it could be because you're not asking the right questions. You're not asking enough questions, and they might be feeling these emotions that you're more after them purchasing, and that's where your mindset is versus you wanting to help them. And you're going to show them that you want to help them by asking them more questions. So, and when you do this, when you ask them lots of questions, it's going to help them to come to the conclusion that they want to buy or that they want to join your team, not that you're convincing them. They're already deciding that because they feel good about the conversation and you're asking them lots of questions about themselves, that they're already going to decide that it's a yes without you having to give them all these facts. So some examples of some questions that you can ask your people, and these, I'm going to go through like a little sales process with you in here in a second, but these are questions that you can ask them kind of when you're nearing the end of a conversation or where you're getting close to telling them about what the challenge pack comes with. So there's 5 questions here, and I'll make sure that I get these to your guys's, to your team leaders or whatever, and so that they can get these to you. So don't worry about writing them down, but if you want to try, that's fine. So number 1, what are your energy levels right now, and where do you want them to be? Because energy is everything, right? Like if we don't have energy, we don't have energy to do anything. We're just going to be sitting around watching Netflix all day. You know, we've all had those days. I won't judge. Number 2, what kind of legacy do you want to leave for your kids? this is kind of a hard one, and you probably wouldn't use this one super often, maybe with a close friend, but what kind of legacy do you want to leave for your kids? How do you feel about yourself right now? Number 3, how do you feel about yourself right now? Number 4, what level of regret will you have if you do not do this right now? That one's my favorite. Number 4, what level of regret will you have if you do not do this right now? And number 5, what are you doing for yourself right now? What are you doing for yourself right now? So it kind of comes down to like you being willing to ask the questions that other people aren't able to ask or aren't willing to ask. And so I said I'll kind of take you through a sales process so you can kind of better understand how you would use those questions and how it's going to get you to more yeses. So the sales process goes like this, and there is a specific order to this, and there's a reason why there is that order, and there's a reason why we use our scripts. And that's because of this order I'm about to give you right now. This is the sales process. Number 1, find out what they need. Find out what they need, like them. It's not about you. It's not about us. It's not about our challenge groups. It's about finding out what that person needs. And then number 2, show them that they aren't getting what they need. Show them that they aren't getting what they need. And this is kind of where you go do like you might hear that and be like, I don't understand what that means. This is like the feel, felt, found method, where you're like, I totally understand how you're feeling right now. I felt that way too before. And I found that when I drank Shakeology, I had so much more energy and more mental clarity. And I could, I felt like I was super mom again. So you're showing them that they aren't getting what they need because you're showing them that there's like light, there's a light at the other end of the tunnel. And then number 3 in the sales process is you create dissatisfaction. Now that might sound so horrible and you're like, create dissatisfaction. Why would I want to do that? I'm trying to help this person. But that's kind of where you ask those questions, those harder questions I just gave you. Like, what will your level of regret be if you don't do this right now? Don't you think that's going to create a little bit of dissatisfaction in them? And they're going to be like, oh gosh, I don't know what will happen. And then number 4, show them how what you're offering can help them. Show them how what you're offering can help them. And I always tell my coaches, this is why you ask those questions about what their goals are and what they need, is because you're bridging the gap between what they need and what you have to offer. So you're showing them your value. You're showing them how what you have to offer with your challenge groups or what you have to offer with your team coaching is going to help them to get to their goals. And then number 5, you give them a call to action with urgency. And giving them a call to action with urgency is kind of important because I'm sure if you've been a coach for a while, you know that people, they kind of need deadlines and they don't really, they'll kind of take their time to order things or whatever. Or if you don't give them a certain date to join a challenge group, they won't purchase it. So you got to give them a call to action with urgency. And it's got to be in this order, you guys. It's got to be, find out what they need, show that they aren't getting what they need, create that dissatisfaction, and then show how what you're offering can help them. And then lastly, giving them that call to action. It's got to be in that order. Because how many times have you guys had somebody reach out to you, and it could be like your best friend. They reached out to you after you posted about your challenge group, and the first thing they said was, how much is the challenge? And you say, it's $140 for the challenge pack, and you start telling them all that comes in the challenge pack, and they're like, okay, thanks, I'll think about it. And you're just like, you're like my best friends. Like we kind of get ahead of ourselves. So it's so important with every single person to make sure that you're going through a process, like when you're talking to people about a challenge pack or you're talking to people about coaching, that you don't talk about price or facts first. You ask them, you find out what they need. You ask them those questions, and then you relate to them. You create a little bit of dissatisfaction, really get down deep into why they want to become a coach or why they want to join your challenge group. And then you show them the value. You're going to have so much better of a chance of having somebody saying, yes, I want to join your team, or yes, I want to join your challenge group. And a lot of times, even when I get into conversations where I did a really great job with asking them about their goals and they feel really comfortable with me, I'll have people when I tell them the price, they're like, what, really? Because I thought it was going to be a lot more, because they saw so much value in what you have to offer. Okay, so we talked about creating a vision. We talked about having a sense of you are out there to help others. Number 3 is, how do you create influence within your social? How can you show this influence in your social media? Because how I said in the beginning, how amazing would it be to have more people coming to you saying, hey, I want to join your challenge group. hey, I want to join your team. How does this coaching thing work? I mean, it is amazing. And I'm not saying that at some point you will never have to go out and invite people and you'll never have to ask anybody if they've ever been interested in coaching, because you don't ever want to stop doing that. But it is really, really cool when you have people coming and asking you about what you have to offer. So there's a secret to creating this influence within your social media. And that secret is growth. Number one, growth. If you're not growing, you're dying, you're stagnant, and nobody wants to follow somebody who isn't growing, right? They want to follow somebody who's going places. Like they want to follow you because you have this big vision for your life and you're making it happen, or because you're seeing these changes in your body, you're seeing these changes from your personal development. They want to follow you because you're growing. So right now, I want you guys to release the expectation that your business is just going to grow naturally. It's not going to grow naturally. It takes work, and growth comes from learning and taking action, because you know how we can get like so caught up in all the trainings and everything that we have available to us, but we can't just sit back and learn and not do anything. We have to grow and take action. So share on your social media how you're growing. The easiest way to do this, and this is so easy, is to share what you're learning in your personal development on your social media. Just even if it's like just some little tidbit that you learned that's like, oh, that's so cool, I never knew that. Share that on your personal development. It doesn't have to be like this elaborate video, and it doesn't even have to be an elaborate post. It could just be something really small, and then a picture of you with your personal development book, or a picture of something inspirational, or a picture of you taking your dog for a walk. And then in your post, you talked about how it's changed, how the personal development that you read this morning has changed you. And have an attitude when you're posting these things of being really intentional and providing value. Your value to the marketplace is directly proportional to your income. That's from Jim Rohn. He is also like the godfather of personal development. Your value to the marketplace is directly proportional to your income. So number 2, putting emotion into your posts. Putting emotion into your posts. How can you do that? Well, I have a lot of my new coaches and even coaches who've been around for a while coming to me, and and we're talking about where they're struggling, and they're saying, I don't know what to post about, or I don't know how to write it, and I'm too scared to post it. You guys, do not second guess yourself. Don't second guess yourself. You are amazing and you have a story to share. And I want you to think of this. If you have written this post up, or you're not quite sure how to share something, think of the one person out there who might need to hear your message. Think of that one person, because even if you could just help one person, wouldn't that post be worth it? Like what if that post were to change somebody's life? Wouldn't that be so worth you posting that post? And maybe you guys are like me and you joined the coaching opportunity because you saw a post from your upline coach about their story, or you saw a post about a challenge group and how the challenge group changed their life. What if your coach wouldn't have shared that post because they were too scared, and you would have never been where you are today? Don't overthink your posts that have a lot of emotion in them. Don't overthink how to write them or whatever. Just write it out like how you would say it, because people love that, and post it. Don't think about it too much, and then release it. Like, don't worry about how many likes it gets. Don't worry about how much engagement it gets. Like, don't worry about that, because there could be that one person who comes to you a week later, months later, and says, you know what, thank you so much for posting that. I felt like you were talking to me, and that when you shared that made me feel so empowered about the struggles that I've been going through. So number 3, influence as a leader. How can you be more influential as a leader? Because we've talked a lot about like your customers and your challengers and your following, but what about being influential as a leader? Because I think that's really, really important as well. If you want to grow as a leader, you have to start sharing what you're learning and what's working for you. Like, I'm sure nobody told your upline coach to start creating video trainings, or to start like watching videos on YouTube or whatever it is. You kind of have to like step up and do that yourself. You have to share what you're learning. So the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. Maybe you've heard that saying before. You have to become the coach you wish you had or the coach you wish you were. You have to become them. So you like literally like have to embody that person and have like this. I got this from Danielle Natoni for her Best of the Best in the West call. You kind of have to have like this voyeuristic approach to your power hour where it's almost like you're pretending to be a top coach. Like, so how would a top coach be walking around their house? How would a top coach be performing during their power hour? And it's almost kind of like faking it till you make it. And that's totally okay. So making sure that you're sharing what you're learning with your team, even if it's your upline team, even if you don't have any coaches below you or you have one discount coach or whatever it is, share what you're learning, share what's working for you. Make sure that you are sharing that with your team and providing value to your team as well. So just to kind of like wrap it up, getting your mindset right. That was the first thing we talked about. Write that vision letter, make it super, super compelling, and then come up with a few little scenarios in your head, like that you can do for your bookending your day with your little 5-minute visualizations or your couple, 2-minute visualizations, whatever it is, where you're visualizing your future. Number 2, have an attitude of service. Care more about people than you care about your products. Be more interested than interesting, and ask your people, your prospects, your customers, your challengers, be willing to ask them those hard questions. Use that sales process when you're talking to them in conversations. Find out what they need. Show them that they're not getting what they need. Create that little bit of dissatisfaction with those questions I gave you. Show them how what you have to offer can help them. You're bridging the gap there. You're showing them your value. And then you give them that call to action with urgency so that you can seal in the deal. And then number 3, how can you create this influence within your social media? Sharing your growth, sharing what you're learning in your personal development. Post with intention by providing value to people, making sure that you're not just posting just to post. Add emotion into your post. Share those stories that you are scared to share, and don't think about it, just share it. Don't overthink them. And then as a leader, share what you're learning, share what's working for you, and then making sure that you're tuning into your team pages and providing value within your team pages. It's so important. So I'll leave you guys with one of my favorite quotes, and then I'll open it up for questions. One of my favorite quotes is, "You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great." And one of the things I love most about this business opportunity and personal development is, like, I don't know if any of you have kids, but you can relate if you do. But like, can you imagine what your life would be like now if your parents had shared personal development with you? Maybe they did, but mine certainly didn't. Like, how much different would your life be? And so every night before my son goes to bed, he's only 22 months old, so he's just starting to learn how to talk. But every night before he goes to bed, we give him this little prayer, and I'll share it with you guys. You have greatness within you. You can do, have, or be anything that you want. And then we ask him, what do you say? And he's supposed to say, when he starts learning how to talk more, I am limitless. So I'll say it again, and I want you guys to say, I am limitless with me when we get to that point. You have greatness within you. You can do, have, or be anything that you want. What do you say? I am limitless. All right, I'll open it up for questions if anybody has any. I'm sorry, I did not expect for that to go for 40 minutes, but it did. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself.
I have a question.
Go for it.
So just in terms of, because I just had this a couple of times this month, and I feel like I've dealt with it a bit in the past, but I just wanted your take on it. When you do have the people that go, someone that said, I'm interested in your challenge group, and she was she had been in a healthy, clean eating and then a ab group, Hedley. And then she said, when I posted in there, she said, I'm interested in your next challenge. And there's always the confusion a little bit, whether it's like another free challenge or whatnot, but I tried to make it clear in the post. Anyway, I'm rambling. She said right off the bat, when I was like, okay, what are your goals? Have you done any nutrition plans before? Blah, blah, blah. She said right away, I need to get a question out of the way. Does this cost anything before I answer your questions? And so I felt like she kind of cut me off, and I didn't know what you would use kind of as a segue there to continue helping her without swaying her by the cost.
Anytime anybody asks me that, I always say that the cost just the cost is going to depend on your goals, and I have different options based off of your budget. Because it's true, like the cost is gonna change based off their goals. Like if they want to do Insanity Max 30, Insanity Max 30 challenge pack is $205 if they want to do, insane cardio. But if they want to do the 21-day fix and they're just getting started, this month it's $140. And then I also, for my coaches, I've given them this really helpful tool in my script, because I also build my business for volume. I'm not just about them hitting Success Club, because it's so much better, I think, when you have a new coach, for them to see success right off the bat, and not like, because it can be hard to get people to say yes to challenge packs when you're just getting started as a coach. So I tell my coaches, give your customers, after they've already said no to a challenge pack, let's say, I guess this is kind of going off topic a little bit, but maybe you've talked to them all about the challenge pack. You went through the sales process and it's a definite no. You've already given them the 30-day money back guarantee. Give them a good, better, and best option. So like the good option would be they could get a Fix 8 cookbook and the containers and join the group and just like focus on their nutrition. The better option is to get the 21-day fix with the containers so they can do workouts and nutrition. The best option is the challenge pack, and then kind of give a little quick summary of what that is. And then like the premium option is offering them the challenge pack with discount coaching or discount membership, or whatever you want to call it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great advice. I like the good, better, best, or whatever you do. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. So yeah, I just tell them the cost just depends on your goals.
Okay. That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Okay, so people, they say, I don't have money right now, or something to that sort, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they're flaunting their new nails, their new Louis Vuitton purse, their etc., right?
Yeah.
And they want to be in my free clean eating group, but when it comes down to do the challenge, they say no because they don't have any money, or it's not in their budget.
Mm-hmm.
So how long do you let them stay? How many times would you let them join the free clean eating group? And what would you say? Join the challenge.
Yeah. And I totally know where you're coming from, because this can be really, really frustrating, and it continues to happen to me even a year and a half in this business. But I mean, the problem is they're just not seeing the value in what you have to offer yet, because we're emotional buyers. So they're not seeing that $140 is going to be worth it to them. So for me personally, and everybody's different, I actually, even to this day, still allow people to be in my challenge groups, even if they didn't actually purchase a challenge pack. There's been times where I've been a lot more hardcore about it and only allowed people with challenge packs. But what I have found is that when you get them in that environment where they're around people who are drinking Shakeology, and they're around people who have a program, and those people are seeing changes and seeing results, like they either end up buying a challenge pack, and sometimes they end up signing up as a coach. This last month, I signed like 2 or 3 new coaches who I allowed to be in my challenge group because they rocked the challenge, but they didn't even buy anything from me. And I just said, you are rocking this challenge. Have you ever thought about becoming a coach? Because I think you'd be really great. So, like you asked how many times, it just depends, it depends on the person. If you think the person has a lot of potential, keep helping them. But like, if they're just like draining you and just asking you all of these questions about like, can I eat dairy, and how much of this do I eat, and just like coming at you with all these questions, and you're just like, I can't help you anymore for free. Just use your discretion, and use your discretion about your challenge groups too, because you can decide who's in there. So, I mean, it's not like everybody who wants to be in a challenge group, I let them, like it just kind of depends. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And I know where you're coming from when you say that.
I've had one girl like that, and I just finally told her, she was actually illegally downloading stuff. I just finally told her, I was like, you have to buy. I can't. keep doing this. But there are girls that legitimately don't have money, and I just let them at least start for free because they are eventually going to die. I scrounged the money I had together to do it. Worth it.
Absolutely. And you have to stick to your guns too. And somebody who's if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, you might want to sever ties. But if you know that the person really truly can't afford it, like, do continue to have that attitude of service, because at some point, paying it forward, even if they don't end up buying something from you someday, which most likely they will, still continue to have that attitude of service, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to help people.
I have a question. What personal development book would you recommend, or is your favorite that you found that helped you with influence and all of that?
With influence, actually, it was a Tony Robbins video on YouTube. I will make sure that I post the link to that. It's like a 2-hour-long video, so be ready to take some notes and really dig deep into it. But I'll make sure that you guys get access to that. But my newest favorite personal development book is the 10X Rule. It was badass. If you want to get really motivated about your business and take your business to the next level, the 10X Rule rocked my world this last month. Thank you for asking. That's a good question. Anybody else? I didn't expect to take up an hour of your guys' time tonight, but I really, really appreciate you guys being here. And if nobody else has anything, I will let you guys go. I'll make sure that your coaches have access to the recording and all the stuff that I promised I would give you guys access to. And thank you guys so much for being on this call tonight. I appreciate all of you. And I really, truly hope that you guys see some great success in your guys' future. And I know you can. So, all right, guys, have a great night. Thank you.